Coaches, I want to welcome you back to Bigs Rule the World. I'm Coach Allen over here in um, Central Southside Virginia and Alta Vista, Virginia. I want to welcome you to an episode we're going to do talking about sort of catching up on what's been one of our most popular episodes, probably the most popular episode in our channel history, the Notre Dame Box. So we're going to revisit the Notre Dame Box with a couple of tweaks you can use from the box to help out your offense, whatever offense you may be running. For us offensive line guys, offensive coordinator type guys, it's some fun stuff that I think are simple for the offensive line. And remember, if you can make it simple for the offensive line, you can really get them in a position to dominate, and that's when bigs really get to rule the world. So, guys, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. So that way we can give it. I got a little PowerPoint, a presentation, and a little bit talking. A little chalk talk here. So we'll present here. So Notre Dame Box, guys. And talking about it, we're talking old school, early 20th century Newt Rockne type football here. We're going to talk about what made the box special, what made it good, what exactly is the box. And the box, for those of you who aren't single wing enthusiasts, it's a version of the single wing. I'm going to draw it up here in a minute. I'm going to put up actually Newt Rockne's basic formation, but you know the single wing to be a formation primarily with unbalance, a lot of deception, a lot of pulling, a lot of that type of thing. It's a hard, I would call it a nut grinder type of offense where you're trying to get 3 yards in cloud of dust, but I've seen a lot of single wing offenses bust big play after big play. But the single wing is a way to balance it up. We're going to talk about that for a second. So what Newt Rockne does with the single wing or with the Notre Dame box side of it is he aligns his backs just a little bit. He takes his halfback and aligns him from being a wing more into being a box type formation. All right. This makes it so that the tailback can also be a runner along with your single wing quarterback. He also balances the line up and he's able to go and shift from a standard T formation into this type of box sort of seamlessly before the snap of the football. The Kansas City Chiefs, if you remember back a couple years ago in the Super Bowl, used this type of trickeration early on to sort of shift into something. This was probably back the first time they played the 49ers. They used the Notre Dame box, a little bit of trickeration there to move and groove and, get the alignment they wanted. But, what Newt Rockne was able to do with the single wing was he was able to balance it up a little bit, share who got the football, and sort of allow his team to be able to run to the weak side as well as the strong side. If you look at the single wing, there's not as many runs to that nub side as you would like to that unbalanced side. So what can you do with this? What are your takeaways? And we're going to talk about this, and then we're going to get on the board. Let me get my next slide. There we go. Big 3 things here. Balance is a good thing. We're going to talk about that here in a second. Why balance formations are great. Number 2, motion creates emotion. I heard this in a clinic talk. Love the teaching point. Love the talking point. Motion creates emotion. And then shifts are underutilized in today's football. So let's get into it and talk about what Rockne did versus what you can do. So I'm going to stop my share. Here we go. My dirty old classroom whiteboard here after a long day in the history classroom. So for Rockne, you got to remember here, if we're a traditional single wing type offense, we're like this. We're unbalanced. And you're given with this nub side right here, you're given, a heavy run side right here. So what Rockne does first is he balances things back up. All right, now it's not as predetermined where we're able to run the football. And then what he also does is comes and shifts a little bit to get sort of a box look. And he would do that going from the T and shifting over. All right, so first thing I want to talk about is the idea of why a balance formation works. Specifically, why would a 2 tight end balance formation work? So let's take a look at what I would call ace or even, depending if you're under center or in the gun. We used to call this ace back when I coached at Alta Vista. So for us, what this means here, making sure I get all my receivers in there too. All right. What this does is it makes them have to balance up. All right. You have to play it where you have two guys over top of your wide receivers. You have to play it really in a too high safety. Otherwise, one of those two tight ends is going to burn you. So, in my opinion, you've sort of limited it down into what structures you're going to see defensively. What I see most of the time against our ace look, I don't know about you guys, is a 52. And they might walk these jokers up a little bit, but if your tight ends are threats, they have to defend them. They have to be able to lock on. Now, you can play some cover three type stuff. Let's say you wanted to bring another guy truly into the box. I've seen a 5-3. I've seen a 6-2. Let's do 6-2 real quick. See, for me, if they're going to go 6-2, I love it. Because for me, for a 6-2 perspective, I love power. I'll even take this quarterback, run him, so I can get here, take this backside combo down to here. We'll go right there. Okay? And I got my guys to cut off. I like a 6-2 box, even because I still have numbers. If I'm going to equate the quarterback here, I'll run the quarterback if they're going to put 8 in. If they're going to put 7 in the box and run a 52, I'm going to run with the tailback because I have the numbers. Even if I want to put the quarterback here as a read guy, I wouldn't read, just talking philosophically here. I think that tight end read and man on the line of scrimmage, if I was just going to run a traditional read off of the backside, whether power or zone, let's say I'm going to run a traditional zone read. All right, and they're in a 60 front. Okay, I don't want to, in my opinion, read this tight end's guide, because a lot of times, especially if I'm going to have a 6-2 box, those guys are playing wide nines so far outside of the picture, all right, that I don't feel I can get a true read on. All right, so for me, I actually like angling out there and blocking him with the backside tight end. And then I'll do my regular old thing like we were working with a normal backside 42 front. Okay, so if we're going to run power read here, he'll block back, he'll scoop. I'll read this interior guy, this head up 4 to a 5 technique on the tackle. Right? Combo down. Again, out here play side. I like running it short if you want to. It all depends what you want to do with that defensive end. If he's going to play a wide 9, I just fan his butt out. Work up here. And look, I've made the tight ends have sort of taken away those edge players, and now we're playing within the confines of 10 personnel in a 42 box. Okay, but that's if you see a 60 front. A lot of times we don't see a 60 front. I see that 50 front. That's power read. I should have done zone read. Let me do zone read real quick. Like I said, I was going to do zone read, and I jumped into power read. Making sure that's seen on the board there. So for zone read here, my center will combo here. Then I just got out. I still like fanning him. I'll give a fan call to the backside tight end. We'll combo here. I still like that read. If that's cool with y'all, that's how I kind of like balancing stuff up, because they can only give me a 62 our 52 if they're going to cover my two tight ends. And in the 62, they really can't. So I really like seeing those 7-man boxes and releasing those tight ends. And if you hit those tight ends on a few go routes, it'll keep them honest. If you get, they have these safeties. Let's say we go back to the 52. Just play your leverage. This is me being an old air raid style offensive coordinator, head coach. This is me being an old school air raid type head coach. All right. Play leverage with those safeties. If they're going to play out and be more of their outside contained guys, I don't mind a skinny post. I don't mind a post right there. Play action, pop a post over. Make them respect what you got. But that's what a balanced formation with those tight ends does. It makes the defense sort of be Manila in what they're going to do. Secondly, motion presents emotion. I don't know if I have to draw up too much about this, but you know this from a defensive perspective. When guys are motioning, if you're a defense, it requires, first thing you hear from a defense is motion, 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 motion. It doesn't matter if that motion has nothing to do with the play. It automatically elicits this fear, this flight or fight response from the defense where they go, oh no, something's going on. So for me, that automatically that gets us into moving and shifting and getting the defense on their heels. And then lastly, shifts. Okay. Motion at the snap of the ball, I think we have seen a lot of. And I've seen, talking if we're going to, let's run our balance set. Okay. Let's say we run a little shotgun, double wing type stuff. Okay. Here, for our sake, this is what I'd like to show you here. We'll do it at a T. All right. Motion, whether I send him out or not, might get a backer out of the box. I might be able to pull somebody out like that. What I like out of this, especially if I have a war daddy, I coach small high school football. So generally, this dude might be a stud. We play some studs in our district this year. One guy who has a bunch of D1 offers was our defensive player of the year in our district last year. He plays this side. That guy's nowhere near as good. But as an offensive coordinator, you try to dictate where that guy's going to line up. You try to dictate whether you're going to run, how you're going to run at him. Sometimes if you've ever come up there and you see a guy that you know is a stud and he lines up right there, and you go, oh no, we called the play right at him. This isn't good. Well, you try to dictate him away by formation, but sometimes it's tough. Again, a balanced set. If I come out in the T, let's say they even want to give me a 70 front in the T since I don't have receivers. Okay. All right. I find the stud is right there. All right. I give a play call to my quarterback. All right. I can do this with an older, smarter quarterback. Hey, maybe I can even do it from the sideline. All right. We've called toss sweep. All right. We're going to do it either way. We're going to call it away from him. You've probably done that before. But what happens if when he sets his butt up right here, okay, he can still chase that down, coach. Well, let's say if I want to call toss sweep, and I move here, here, here. I just shift. All right. I've shifted two guys over here. So really three. 1, 2, 3. Really, I am all the way unbalanced. I got it from a coach, Coach Weathersby down in North Carolina. He talked about when they shift and they move two guys and they go unbalanced with two guys, defenses usually will see it and slide over one guy. They're still one short. Because our normal shift for unbalance is to bump one man over. So let's say we get him hooked out there like a wing. Let's say they bump one man over. One, they have time to slide because we shifted and we have to wait a second. So they have time to slide. Boom, boom, boom. Say they slide their big, nasty defensive end down there. Okay, I like to do it like this. Okay, what do I have on this side of the line? Well, I have a half a guy, half a guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 plus half plus half. I have 7 on this side of the line of scrimmage, in my opinion. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half. That's with them bumping over. I still have them outmanned. So here for me, I can get my sweep because I'm here, working up, here, 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 here. Even if they slide, I'm good, but it doesn't give them time to put that stud over top of your unbalanced side. It doesn't get them time to really get in the formation right. And because you're balanced, okay, it becomes easier to sort of dictate where they're going to put that guy and to call away from. Just some tips you can use going back to the early 1900s with a little Newt Rockne football, guys. I love the Notre Dame box. We're playing around with some tendencies and stuff from it this year, not to give too much away. I love Notre Dame box. I love a little bit of hard nosed football mixed in with my air raid philosophies. I love it. Okay. Until next time, coaches. Hey, we're excited to talk about how you can get better this offseason. We're really going to be focusing in on drill tape and how you can put your drill package together to get better for the offseason for your bigs. Okay. Until next time, coaches, remember, bigs rule the world.